Today on Capitol Conservatives, I'm breaking down a Capitol Hill moment that's got everybody talking. Senator John Kennedy, never one to mince words, put Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas straight on the spot, and what followed was a masterclass in political dodging. You just have to hear to believe. Picture this: Appropriations Subcommittee, tension in the air. Kennedy's already riled up over the broken budget process, calling out leadership for those massive, unreadable omnibus bills. But then the real fireworks start. Kennedy looks Mayorkas dead in the eye and asks the question, "Tell me your definition of an assault weapon." Simple, right? Not for Secretary Mayorkas. He starts sidestepping immediately. "I'm not an expert," he says. "I defer to others." He even tries referencing some old legislative language, but he never actually answers. You can feel Kennedy's frustration building.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Madam Chair. I'm glad to see us returning on the Appropriations Committee to what I'll call quasi-regular order, where our subcommittees are meeting and talking about the matters within our jurisdiction. And I think we should return to full regular order. I think whether we return to full regular order will depend on Senator Schumer. I'm not convinced yet that he will allow us to return to full regular order. I'm not convinced yet that he will give up his power to basically write the budget, he and a few other leaders. And I'm not convinced. Well, I don't want to necessarily ascribe this to Chuck. Many people like an omnibus because they can hide the spending and because they have enough internal power to get what they want. And for everybody else, it's too bad. So I hope that we'll all encourage Senator Schumer to actually bring the bills to the floor, because that's going to be the true test. We can all meet, ask all these questions, and pour over budgets that never have a chance to pass. It's going to depend on Senator Schumer, and that's kind of the bottom line. Mr. Secretary, yesterday you testified in judiciary that you support an assault weapon ban, and we didn't have much time to talk about that.
Presses again. You are the Secretary of Homeland Security. What do you consider an assault weapon? Still nothing. Mayorkas just keeps dodging, almost like he's hoping the clock will run out. That's when Kennedy goes for the jugular. He tries every angle. Is it about how the gun looks, the mechanics, the magazine size? Could a single-shot .22 be banned if it looks scary enough? Mayorkas gives the same response every time. "I must defer to the experts. I've answered your question. I'm not taking an examination."
Tell me your definition once more of an assault weapon.
Senator, we did indeed have a brief exchange on that very important subject. I'm not an expert with respect to the definition of the assault bans, and so I defer.
You are the Secretary of Homeland Security.
As I was about to say, I defer to the experts. I defer to, for example, definition of an assault weapon that was codified in prior iteration of the legislation was passed, and that was in operation when I served as an assistant United States attorney and the United States Attorney in the Central District of California.
So you would support the prior definition under?
Senator, I must defer to the experts with respect to definition, but I will tell you, for example, military-style weapons are of tremendous concern. We're seeing much devastation.
How do you define? But I mean, you personally think we should ban assault weapons, and I know you to be an intelligent man and a thinking person, so I know you've thought about it. What is it about a military? What do you mean by a military-style weapon?
Senator, I really must say that you are being a very, very important area definitionally, in which I do not have the requisite expertise. I will say this. When we see the tragedy in Nashville, and it is not the first such tragedy we see, when I engage my international counterparts and they ask me almost invariably first, what is going on with all the mass killings in the United States? Why are these assault weapons disseminated so broadly? I say that we need legislation to ban.
Let me follow up on that. So you support an assault weapon ban, but you don't have a definition. Is that right?
Senator, I think that you understand where I stand.
No, I don't. You made a very bold statement.
Then comes Kennedy's analogy. What if another senator claimed to oppose illegal immigration, but couldn't even define it? The comparison lands, and it exposes just how shaky Mayorkas's position really is. Finally, Mayorkas tosses out AK-47 as an example, but when Kennedy asks why it should be banned, we're right back to square one. the chairman finally steps in and cuts it off. Mayorkas ends with some emotional lines about tragedy and international partners, but here's the thing, no clarity, no definition, just talking points.
Very firmly saying we should ban all assault weapons. And all I'm asking is, what, in your mind, is an assault? I mean, you say it's military style. Does that mean it looks like a military weapon?
Senator, I believe I've addressed the
I
question.
mean, what if it's
I
a
may,
a single-shot .22 that looks like a military weapon? Would you ban that because it's scary looking to you?
Senator, I think I've addressed your question to the best of my abilities.
But you have. I mean, I'm trying to understand. You're Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. And as is your right, as an American, you believe we should ban assault weapons. But it bothers me you can't tell me what you would ban.
Senator, I would be very pleased to speak with experts and confer with you subsequent to today's hearing and share with you a proposed definition that could be inserted into the legislation that is so desperately needed. Because I will tell you, the way I look at it
But
is I
Mr.
see
Secretary,
so much tragedy.
what if Senator Tester, my good friend, he's not here, what if Senator Tester said to you, I oppose illegal immigration, which I think he does, and you said to him, what do you mean by illegal immigration? And he said, well, I don't know, but I oppose it. I didn't accept that answer, and that's the answer you've given me. You said you want to oppose all assault weapons, but you don't know what they are. Can you give me an example?
Senator, I think I gave you an example yesterday, so I'm not exactly sure why you're posing
Which
the
one?
question.
Refresh my memory of the example.
I believe I said an AK-47.
What is it about an AK-47 that you find to be objectionable? Is it the fact that it has a magazine?
Senator,
Do you know what a magazine is?
Senator,
But first, do you know what a magazine is, Mr. Secretary?
yes, I do. And Senator, what I've come to do is testify to this committee and not take an examination with respect to questions that I've already answered to the best of my ability. And so I think it is self-evident why an AK-47 should be banned as just one example. But I look forward to conferring with you.
Except you can't
subsequently.
explain what one is.
I think, Senator, that
Senator's time has expired.
Senator, we've seen enough tragedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So here's my takeaway. If the nation's top Homeland Security official can't define what he wants to ban, how can anyone trust this process? Definitions matter. Words matter. Policy matters. And if our leaders want to rewrite the rules on something as fundamental as the Second Amendment, they need more than slogans. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit like, share this video with a friend, and subscribe to Capital Conservatives for more sharp, unapologetic